cutting the down parts for the dress. So what I'm going to be achieving now is the mermaid skirt. So now, if you see on my pattern, what I have is just a basic skirt block. From the waist to the hip, waist to the knee, and waist to the midi length. Alright, but what I'm going to be working with now is to get the floor length. Okay, so in order for me to minimize my paper usage, that's what I'm doing this. So every other allowance, I'm going to be adding it on the fabric. Okay, so now my center front, which is going to be on fold, and my skirt length, that's from the waist to the floor length, which is going to be 45 inches. So here I have 45 inches, and here I have my pattern at the center front. So I'm going to be pinning down. So please make sure that your fabric is laying flat, no folds underneath, no additional allowance. Center front on fold and pin down. So now that I have this, that is my knee length. Here is my hip line. Okay, so I'm going to be adding what? My sewing allowance. So ½ inch at the waist, 1 inch at the side seam. Don't forget, these are the same allowance we added to the upper part. Now, we are not working with a pencil dress, we are working with a mermaid, right? So now we need an extension as a fullness at the side front. So what I'm going to be working with now is to connect this to my full length, then add your fullness to the hemline. Now it all depends on how full you want your dress to be. I'm going to be working with 10.5 as my fullness. Connect it from your knee all the way down. Then also connecting it to the hip. Don't forget, whatsoever measurements you are going to be adding as your side seam should exactly have the same shape as what you have on the pattern block. So yeah, I'm done with the front. I start cutting. So yeah, I have the front piece. Now don't forget, you have to note what you added as an extension here, because whatever you've added as the extension here must be exactly the same thing you're going to be adding at the back. So 10.5. So now I'm going to be placing for my back. You're folding in a way that you're going to be having a lot of allowance to be working with for the fullness. Now for the back, I'm going to be adding a joint train to it. So the fullness I have for the front, I'm also going to be adding it for the back. I am satisfied with this. So now I place the back. So I have my center back and I also have my side back. I'm adding 10.5 to my side back because don't forget, at the center front piece, we added 10.5 to the side front. So the same 10.5 must be added to this. And also the length at which I used, 45. So you don't have a change of length measurement. That 45 must still remain the 45. So now I'm going to be adding my side seam allowance, which is 1 inch. So the same 10.5, which I added for the front. I'm also doing the same thing, connecting back to the knee. So now for my zipper allowance, I'm going to be measuring 10 inches. So I add my zipper allowance. If you realize the zipper allowance is not straight, that's because I've added, I've removed the bum effect. Okay, so now after the 10 inches, which I'm using for the zipper allowance, I add my normal ½ inch. For the center back allowance. Now the reason why we are doing this is because it's a man-made skirt and we can't have the 1.5 inches all the way down because we are adding a fullness to it. Alright, so now whatever we have left is what we're going to be working with now. So even with this, you can also still add an external train to it. So what I have here is still 10.5. So even with the 10.5, I can still add an external train to it. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm good to go to cut. And here I have my back pattern piece. And I also have my front pattern piece. So now what I've done on this lining, and I'm going to be placing it on the satin, I'm also going to be placing it on the fabric to cut exactly what I have here. Alright, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Here we are at AY Stitches Fashion Academy. Thank you.